know what an acceptable ID will be for you to fly? Well, if you're wondering what an accepted ID will be for you to get on a plane, keep watching because this video is for you. Hey fellow travelers, this is Norman Payne from Up and Away Travel. Thank you for stopping in and welcome back to my channel. This channel is about everything travel. I'm talking about everything from travel hacks, travel tips, travel news, to travel destination videos. So if you want to be a more informed traveler, then subscribe to this channel now. The TSA has updated its rules on which IDs will be accepted for you to get on any flight. I'm talking about domestically. Any flight, you will need to have certain IDs. Once this goes in effect, there is no going back. May 7th is the deadline for the real ID. They are setting up right now. Come March, they are going through a trial. But May 7th, no more playing. TSA will not let you through the security checkpoint without certain IDs. You're gonna have a valid US ID to do a lot of things. I mean, even go through a federal building. So get yourself prepared. Don't be left out. Don't be sitting on one side of the airport not being able to get on that plane. I know I am ready. So what is considered a valid ID? I'm going to give you a list here of all of the accepted IDs, and they must be valid and current. They cannot be expired. So you can have a state-issued driver's license or an ID card as long as it meets the ID requirements. You can use a US passport. It must be valid. It cannot be expired. You can use a passport card. You can use a green card or a permanent residence card for those users who are not US citizens but do have permission to be in the United States. You can use a DHS Trusted Travelers Card. That means a global entry, a Nexus, a Centra, or a Fast card. These can be used to facilitate a border crossing. You can use a US Department of Defense ID. You can use a border crossing card. These are used mostly for frequently crossing the US-Mexican border. An accepted photo ID issued by a federally recognized tribal nation, Indian tribe, including enhanced tribal cards. You can use a HSPD-12 PIV card from government agencies. You can use a passport issued from a foreign government. You can use a Canadian Provincial driver's license or Indian Northern Affairs Canadian card. You can use a Transportation Workers Identification credential. You can use a U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Employment Authorization Card or I-766. You can use a U.S. Merchant Marine credential, or you can use a Veterans Health Identification Card or VHIC card. It is important to remember that everyone above the age of 18 must have an ID. Anyone below the age of 18 must be with an adult over the age of 21. That person must have an ID. When May 7th comes, TSA has the right to turn you away from boarding a plane. You will not be able to get through security checkpoints. So plan to have your real ID or one of these other accepted IDs. I'm gonna leave a list of these IDs on my website, www.upupuptravel.com. Go there and look at the list of different IDs that you can use. How do you know if you have the real ID? Well, the real ID will have a gold star in the right corner. If your ID does not have a gold star, it is not a real ID. So you need to get with your DMV and find out how you can get that real ID. If your ID happens to expire before you get on a plane, there may be some way to still get through TSA. Now, it's up to their discretion, so don't think that this will happen every time. They may ask you a series of questions, but you may have to prove your address, who you are, by showing another piece of ID. So if your ID expires before you get on a plane, I would have several pieces of ID, especially pieces with your photograph and your full name on it. The best thing to do is to have a passport. A passport is the best ID that you can have worldwide. Like I said, children don't have to have IDs as long as they're with an adult. But sometimes they're gonna ask to be sure. So be sure the kid has something that has their full name that matches their boarding pass. Now, we know that sometimes women have compound last names, and on some boarding passes, it only accepts one part of that last name. That's not a problem. What will be a problem when those two things does not match at all. So if the last name is compound and only one part of that is on the boarding pass, you may still be able to get through TSA. But if I was you, I would check with the airport that you're gonna go through to be sure that that's okay, and the airlines, and get those two things straight before you get to the airport. If you should have any issues, I say plan to arrive early. So if you have any setbacks, that you have time to still get to the gate to board your plane. Do not play with time if you have a questionable ID issue, because you may need to talk to not just that TSA agent, but maybe the supervisor to get you through that TSA into the security checkpoint. So don't play with time. Go early, wait it out so that you can get to your plane and get on your way. Have you already gotten your real ID? If you have, leave me a comment and let me know what state you got your real ID. If you haven't, let me know why the state has not issued real IDs. Be sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share this video with anyone that's traveling anytime soon, because they will need to know what they need to get through that security checkpoint. Also, subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel helps me grow. Well, that's all I have for you today. So until our paths cross again soon, I'll see you then. Peace.
Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Also follow me on all my social media. Just hashtag #UpUpUpNorman.